Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I come here tonight to thank the City Council and the City Manager for taking the time and the effort to visit Hen Island last month. It's refreshing to see that after 7 years of inaction from two prior administrations, that this council seems to be concerned about the issues and working to develop a sensible solution. The solution, I hope, is based again on what is best for residents of Rye, regardless of Westchester County's desire to whitewash these environmental and health issues, as we have seen in the past. One thing that we've seen in Rye in recent months, as it relates to other important issues, including the future of Playland, as well as the affordable housing project on Theodore Friend, is the reality that the interests of Rye are not always aligned with the interests of Westchester County. The same is true for Hen Island. I'm not going to go into detail tonight about what has transpired in the past on a city or a county level. It's not productive to look backwards when we wish to move forwards. These same sentiments were expressed by Mayor Sack last August when Hen Island was first listed on the agenda as an item. However, it's still important to remember where we've been and to avoid some of those pitfalls in the future. After reading the September 26th edition of the Rye City Review, I was appalled to read that Councilman Mecca's comments.
Ray, I'm not sure I want to have anyone from the public commenting on things that a councilman said in a newspaper.
Oh, he can comment. It was in the paper.
All right. Well, I don't want it to become a personal thing between two people. I want it to be focused on the issues, not on who said what. Okay. So.
Okay.
That's
so
all.
I was appalled to read a certain councilman's comments. In the article, that councilman stated that Hen Island is a waste of time and not a Rye issue. I'm not paraphrasing. These are direct quotes. At the August 4th City Council meeting, when Hen Island was listed as an agenda item, Mayor Sack prefaced it with the discussion by saying, despite the length of time that has been devoted to these issues, they have never been sufficiently framed and they have never been definitively addressed. Mayor Sack went on to say that in the past things have been said that have caused a tremendous amount of animosity, and that it's important at this stage to remove the heat and apply some light. This is quite a contrast to a certain councilman's assertion.
Right. Focus on the issues. I beseech you. I mean, first of all, it could be that Rich is just a lot smarter than me. But, all kidding aside, I stand by what I said. I am sure that Mr. Mecca subscribes to it as well. There's been no final determination yet, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. Otherwise, what's the point of doing what we're doing? So.
Well, I hear you, Joe, but it appears that Mr. Mecca has made a final determination, and he made that determination to the newspaper. He said that Hen Island is a waste of time, and it's not a Rye issue. So am I supposed to believe in this process, that this council is looking at this openly and fair?
Yes, because the council
excuse me?
The council is.
Excuse me?
All right, wait, hold on a second. Hold on. Everyone calm down. It's late. We already had a lot of drama here tonight. Let's not continue it. Here's what we're going to do. Mr. Mecca, if you don't mind, I'm going to let the speaker finish his thoughts, and then I'm going to give you every opportunity you want to respond as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please.
So this is quite a contrast to a certain council person's assertion in the paper that Hen Island issues were a waste of time, quote, and not a Rye issue. What was even more incredible is the fact that a certain councilman did not even take the time to visit Hen Island with his colleagues before he made what it seemed like his final determination. And yet I suppose that I'm expected to believe in this entire council is open-minded and is carefully considering the health, safety, and environmental risks. In that same newspaper article, a certain councilman went on to explain that if he had a mosquito infestation problem in his backyard, he would hire an exterminator to rectify the problem. That statement alone represents a certain level of ignorance, because unlike every other property in Rye, Hen Island collects over 33,000 gallons of stagnant water, which breeds mosquitoes, in addition to an unmaintained and man-made breeding site that this council witnessed on their tour. Perhaps if Mr. Mecca visited Hen Island with the rest of the council, he would know. Now here's my problem with a certain councilman's additional statements to the press. On Hen Island, contrary to the City of Rye Code, according to the bylaws and the rules and regulations of the corporation, as a homeowner, we're not allowed to spray even a can of ant and roach killer, let alone hire an exterminator. I find it interesting that a certain council person considers my request for code enforcement on Hen Island a waste of time, when he himself is a code enforcement officer for the City of White Plains. That certain council person's enforcement department visits my auto repair facility at least twice a year for inspections. I have been written violations by that council person for using inadequate electrical extension cords, and it boggles my mind that a City of Rye council person who incredibly is also a code enforcement officer could call the violations on Hen Island not a Rye issue. We're talking about an entire community that flushes their toilets into the ground along the shores of the Long Island Sound, that collects bird feces infected water that residents are expected to shower in, and breeds mosquitoes by the million.
All right, so Ray, you are taking issue with the councilman's statement in the paper, is that right?
Well, if I could just finish, Joe. I only asked for 5 minutes, and it's probably less. I suggest that that councilman take a look at the map. Hen Island is in Rye, and we as taxpayers in Rye pay the city over $135,000 a year in taxes, which we receive basically a garbage truck for a couple of hours twice a year. You as a councilman have taken an oath to protect the health.
Right, please don't talk to us about the oaths we take. We know the oaths we take.
Well, maybe he's not familiar with the oaths he takes, Joe.
I'm gonna
Maybe
ask
he
you
needs to be
I'm gonna
reminded.
ask you to please wrap it up. This is not the direction I think is
Okay.
helpful or constructive.
Just as the geographical boundaries of Rye have been established, so are your responsibilities as a Rye City Council person. You cannot pick and choose
All right.
neighborhoods that are subject to the city's
Right.
enforcement codes.
Right.
Send him an email.
So why should, I don't understand why I should be limited as to what I could say at this dais, Joe. I don't understand why the public can't hear that I feel
because
that.
you're taking something that we're trying to reduce to the issues and you're making it personal, Ray, and that is something that I will not allow, whether it's you or anyone else, or any other council member, whether it's Mr. Mecca or myself or any one of my colleagues.
So you don't think?
So I think, Ray, in my personal opinion, that you are making this very personal, okay? And as the person who runs these meetings, I absolutely agree that you and other individuals have a right to come up and speak your mind and talk about the issues, but I think you're making it very personal, and it shouldn't be that way, and it doesn't need to be that way. So I'm asking you, if you've made your point, to allow Mr. Mecca to respond if he so chooses. He doesn't have to respond either, but I think you've made your record. You've expressed your point of view, and it's late. And I'd like to be able to wrap up the meeting. So I hear what you're saying. You've made your point. Is there anything more you'd like to say?
Well, I'd like to finish my statement, but I'm going to give you a push on this one, Joe.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to give you a push. I understand where you're going. You don't want me to say what I want to say. I think that the comments that were made to the paper were personal. You know, when somebody says to me that these issues on Hen Island are not a Rye issue, and they're representing the city of Rye,
Right.
I take that as personal. Yes, you're right.
I get it. I hear it. You've said it. So, Rich, would you like to say anything?
Probably not.
Okay, in that case, thank you for coming, Ray.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public who'd like to speak? All right.